Are very pleased to be joined by Kristen Kenney, a TV host, sportscaster, and someone who has survived malaria. Kristen, it is so good to have you Skyping in from LA, mighty early in the morning out there in Southern California.
Thanks for having me. The sun is not even out yet. It is early.
So,
But thank
Kristen,
you so much for having me.
it may be dark and early in Southern California, but shed some light on your West African experience. What took you to that region in the first place?
Well, I went there originally with my best friend, Venance, who I met in college, and he always wanted to bring me back to his country and see how life was for him growing up before coming to school in America. So we ended up going and making a documentary out of the journey. And that was about let's see, that was 5 years ago that we went. So originally it was just with him, and it was a journey to, we climbed Kilimanjaro, we went to his village. And that's when I was hit with malaria. We were there for about 7 to 8 weeks. So it was a long journey. It was amazing. But at the end, obviously, it was a struggle to survive.
Kristen, tell us, when you did get sick, what were the conditions that you saw in the hospital?
You know, it was out of this world for me. There's nothing that you can do to prepare yourself for going over to a place like that, and then thinking that you're ever going to get sick was out of the cards for me. I wasn't even prepared. So first of all, when you're in a village, you have to worry about, the main thing is transportation to the hospital, because there's no 911, there's no ambulances, there's no way, nothing that we have here. So you immediately here, pick up the phone and dial 911. You have none of that. So we had to find our way on a bus, and it was a local bus. It was 6 hours. So you have this condition, the sickness, the illness on the bus. But on top of that, you're fighting time, because with malaria, when you get it, you have a window of like 24 hours to get treated, or it can put you into a coma. So just that time alone getting to the hospital, we pulled up to about 2 health facilities that didn't have room, and they didn't have the medicine. So you deal with transportation, then you get there and there's no access to the medicine that you need to survive. Then once you're in the hospital, the conditions are whether or not you're sharing a room with somebody else or in an open room. I mean, if you're lucky to have your own private room, I shared a room with somebody else. There's no electricity, there's no water. It's just shocking. When they're putting the IV in you, there's no cleaning out your arm or anything like that. It's just crazy. There's a lack of medical supplies all across the board. And that was what shocked me.
And so, given that, we have about a minute 30 left, Kristen, obviously you have detailed some of the challenges just in terms of basic sanitation and hygiene that you confronted in West Africa. But you've also started a fundraising campaign through bracelets that applies to this situation, does it not?
It does. It was something simple for me to come up with an idea to raise funds and awareness for malaria, and it's called Buy a Bracelet, Save a Life, Malaika for Life. And the bracelets are made by a group of women in Tanzania with the funds supporting life-saving malaria medicine in Africa. So we stock the health facilities in Tanzania in particular with the medicine that they need to survive.
Well, Kristen Kenney, that is quite a story. Obviously, you have the documentary. We saw your website. We saw the footage that appeared on KABC 7 in Los Angeles. So more and more people are hearing about your experience, and we're so glad you were able to share some time with us today here on America's Forum on Newsmax TV.
Well, thank you for allowing me to share my story. And, you know, it's definitely a cause that I'm passionate about. So thank you so much for having me on.
Well, Kristen Kenney, we do appreciate it. And based on current events, we may be asking you to come back, go a little more in depth on that hospital experience. Fair enough?
Yes. Yeah, that's great. Anytime you guys need me.
All righty. We'll consider that an open invitation. Have you back real soon. Kristen Kenney, thanks so much for your time and your insights. There is more to come on America's Forum, specifically with the midterms looming. Just how scared should the Democrats be? That will be a point of debate and contention we'll get to coming up.